Hollywood's golden age looked perfect, but what if the dream was a lie? Behind the cameras, 20 legendary stars lived through betrayals so shocking, the studios buried the truth. Which star hid a secret child? Whose marriage ended in violence? And why is the final scandal still whispered about today?
Let's begin with number 20. Barbara Stanwyck.
Go soak your head and see if I care.
One of Hollywood's strongest women privately lived through humiliation. At a 1930s party, her drunk husband, Frank Fay, shoved her into a pool. That shocking moment defined their marriage. Fay, eaten by jealousy over her rising career, often lashed out in public. How could the iron-willed Stanwyck endure such cruelty? Their marriage collapsed in 1935, leaving Fay's reputation ruined. But her second marriage to Robert Taylor was no fairy tale either. Though MGM paraded them as a dream couple, whispers of Taylor's affairs circulated constantly. Why did she cling to image over happiness? Their divorce in 1951 left her hardened. Biographers later claimed she confided fears of being too difficult to love. Now continuing with number 19, Franchot Tone Hollywood once praised Franchot Tone as cultured and refined.
As every time I do, I hate myself. I hate you.
Yet behind closed doors, his marriage to Joan Crawford turned brutal. They wed in 1935, a glamorous match. But whispers soon spread. Crawford's jealousy and explosive temper often erupted. One day, Tone arrived on set with visible bruises. Could Crawford have been responsible? Friends claimed he endured abuse in silence, too proud to admit weakness. Their divorce in 1939 ended his peak years. But why did his career never recover? Tone spiraled into alcoholism, taking smaller roles while Crawford soared. Even decades later, acquaintances said he spoke of Crawford as if she still owned him. What hold could she possibly have kept long after their love was gone? Let's move to number 18, Alia Nazimova. She was one of silent Hollywood's brightest stars, yet her entire marriage was staged for survival. Alia Nazimova's 1912 union with actor Charles Bryant was only a mask. He was gay, and she loved women. Why risk exposure in an unforgiving era? Her estate, the Garden of Allah, became legendary for secret gatherings where stars shed public personas. Guests whispered of affairs with Ava Le Gallienne and Dolly Wilde, but Hollywood's official line remained silent. What would have happened if her truth had been exposed then? By the 1930s, her career faded, studios wary of scandal. Yet Nazimova left a mark history nearly buried. She quietly financed her own films, making her one of cinema's earliest female producers. Now we arrive at number 17, Douglas Fairbanks.
Now, the ocean is a marvelously healthy place to be, especially when it's calm and peaceful like it is today, but when it gets rough.
Audiences crowned him Hollywood's king, and in 1920 he married America's sweetheart, Mary Pickford. Their mansion, Pickfair, became a palace visited by presidents and kings. Were they not the picture of perfection? But behind the glamour, boredom and temptation spread. Fairbanks grew restless, pursuing affairs abroad, while Pickford withdrew into alcohol. Could the world's perfect couple survive under such scrutiny? By 1936, their divorce broke the hearts of millions, proving even royalty could crack. And yet, insiders claimed Fairbanks confessed to friends he had grown weary of being everyone's dream. Isn't it striking that the man who gave the world adventure on screen admitted to exhaustion in real life? Here's number 16, Sophia Lauren.
This is the necklace my mother wore the night my father proposed to her.
When Carrie Grant fell in love, the world assumed any woman would say yes. But in 1957, Sophia Lauren shocked Hollywood by refusing him. During filming of The Pride and the Passion, Grant, then 52, wrote her passionate letters begging for marriage. Why would Lauren, only 22, turn down one of the most desired men alive? The answer lay with producer Carlo Ponti, nearly 2 decades older, who had secretly arranged a proxy marriage with her in Mexico. Italian law later declared it invalid, but Lauren stayed loyal. Did she give up Hollywood's ultimate prize for stability? Grant never forgot her, calling her the love that got away. Decades later, Lauren admitted she almost said yes, hinting history might have changed with a single decision. Let's continue with number 15, Ingrid Bergman.
I know Thornton Square.
Do you know anyone living there?
I used to, not anymore.
Few actresses fell from grace as dramatically as Ingrid Bergman. In 1949, while married to Swedish Dr. Petter Lindström, she traveled to Italy to film Stromboli. There she fell in love with director Roberto Rossellini. Within a year, she was pregnant, and the scandal detonated. Why did this affair spark such outrage? On March 14, 1950, Senator Edwin C. Johnson denounced her on the Senate floor, calling her a powerful influence for evil. American churches banned her films, and she lived in exile for 7 years. How many stars could survive such moral condemnation? Bergman returned triumphantly in 1956 with Anastasia, winning an Oscar. Yet in private, she wrote weekly letters to her daughter Pia, begging forgiveness. The contrast between public villain and private mother remains haunting. Now moving to number 14, Gloria Swanson.
Making a picture again. You don't know how much I've missed all of you.
Gloria Swanson epitomized silent-era glamour, but her private scandals nearly eclipsed her career. Married in 1919 to Herbert Somborn, a restaurateur, she was soon dragged into one of Hollywood's messiest divorce cases. In 1923, Somborn accused her in court of numerous affairs, even naming Chaplin and DeMille, including Cecil B. DeMille and Charlie Chaplin. Could any actress have survived such humiliation? Newspapers devoured every accusation, dubbing her the most scandalous woman in pictures. Yet Swanson endured, later starring in Sunset Boulevard, ironically playing a faded actress ruined by gossip. Isn't it striking that art imitated her life so closely? Years later, she admitted at least some of the charges had truth, confirming suspicions that Hollywood's brightest star lived dangerously off-screen. Let's start with number 13, Jean Harlow.
Hello, Mrs. Jordan. 'Cause I remember you. I seen you at the races.
Jean Harlow, Hollywood's blonde bombshell, carried a legacy marked by death and heartbreak. At only 16, she eloped with wealthy Charles McGrew, divorcing within 2 years. Her second husband, MGM producer Paul Byrne, died in 1932, just 2 months after their wedding. A bullet to the head. MGM called it suicide, but rumors suggested Byrne's mistress was involved. How could such a young star endure so much tragedy? In 1933, she married cinematographer Harold Rawson. That union lasted barely 8 months. Then, in 1937, Harlow herself died at just 26 from kidney failure, shocking millions. Her funeral drew over 10,000 fans, proof that tragedy only deepened her allure. Hidden still, her mother refused autopsy photographs, leaving unanswered questions about her final days. Now heading into number 12, Carrie Grant.
Tell me, what do you do besides lure men to their doom on the 20th Century Limited?
Behind Carrie Grant's impeccable charm was a man unsettled by 5 failed marriages. His first wife, actress Virginia Cherrill, divorced him in 1935, citing cruelty. In 1942, he wed heiress Barbara Hutton, sparking the cruel nickname Cash and Carrie. Did wealth make him feel secure or trapped? Their marriage lasted only 3 years. His longest union was with Betsy Drake, yet even stability collapsed under Grant's restless search for meaning. He famously underwent more than 100 LSD therapy sessions, claiming it brought peace. Still, his marriage to Diane Cannon ended in 1968, despite the birth of their daughter Jennifer. Grant later confessed he had always feared abandonment, ironic for a man the world considered irresistible. Could his greatest role have been hiding his own loneliness? Let's continue with number 11, Orson Wells.
I'm getting the habit.
Do all rich women play games like this?
Orson Wells was just 26 when Citizen Kane made him immortal, yet his marriage to Rita Hayworth became his most haunting failure. They wed in 1943, uniting Hollywood's genius with its goddess. But Wells obsessed over films, disappearing for weeks, while Hayworth longed for steadiness. By 1947, she filed for divorce, citing neglect. Could brilliance blind him to love he already had? Wells later admitted losing her was the greatest regret of his life. Friends recalled Hayworth's mother had warned her, saying, "He will never be yours." Their union lasted only 4 years, but gossip about their fights endured for decades. Isn't it striking that the man who revolutionized cinema couldn't direct happiness in his own home? Here's number 10, Clark Gable.
You owe everybody here dough. Big dough. And we're gonna collect.
Clark Gable, the king of Hollywood, carried a secret that remained buried for decades. In 1935, while filming The Call of the Wild with Loretta Young, Gable fathered a child. Hollywood studios panicked. To preserve his image, Young disappeared for more than a year, later adopting her own daughter, Judy Lewis, in 1937. Why did Gable never publicly acknowledge her? Judy only discovered the truth in adulthood, noticing her striking resemblance to the king himself. Beyond this scandal, Gable married 5 times. His most famous marriage to Carole Lombard ended in tragedy when she died in a plane crash in 1942. He never recovered, telling friends he had lost the only woman he truly loved. The public only learned the truth about his hidden daughter in 1994, long after his death. Let's move on to number 9, Errol Flynn.
Tell me, is a thief an Englishman who steals?
Few stars embodied excess like Errol Flynn. His first marriage to Lily Demita in 1935 quickly soured, erupting in public fights and lawsuits after their divorce in 1942. With his second wife, Nora Eddington, whispers of infidelity followed him constantly. By the time he wed Patrice Wymore in 1950, Flynn was already unraveling under scandal. In 1942, he stood trial on statutory rape charges from 2 teenage girls. Though acquitted, the case shattered his reputation. Could Hollywood's favorite rogue ever live down the nickname "In Like Flynn"? His autobiography, My Wicked, Wicked Ways, published after his death in 1959, revealed even more wild affairs, addictions, and excesses than gossip had dared suggest. Flynn died at only 50, his legend both glamorous and sordid. Let's continue with number 8, Debbie Reynolds. In 1955, Debbie Reynolds married singer Eddie Fisher, and they quickly became America's favorite couple. But in 1958, tragedy struck when Mike Todd, Elizabeth Taylor's third husband, died in a plane crash. Fisher rushed to console Taylor, and within a year, he abandoned Reynolds for her. How could Hollywood's sweetheart lose everything so publicly? The betrayal dominated headlines through 1959, recasting Reynolds as the wronged wife, Taylor as the temptress, and Fisher as weak. Reynolds raised her 2 children, including Carrie Fisher, alone while rebuilding her career. Years later, she and Taylor reconciled, even appearing on stage together in Las Vegas. Isn't it astonishing that one of Hollywood's most painful scandals eventually turned into a public act of forgiveness? Here's number 7, Rita Hayworth.
Me?
By the mid-1940s, Rita Hayworth was dubbed the Love Goddess, yet her private life brought only heartbreak. She married 5 times, beginning with Edward Judson in 1937, a man accused of exploiting her financially. Her second husband, Orson Wells, charmed her brilliance away, but neglected her deeply. They divorced in 1947. In 1949, she married Prince Ali Khan, entering international royalty. But his notorious infidelities made the union short-lived. By 1953, her fourth husband, singer Dick Haymes, was arrested for debt and accused of abusing her. Her final marriage to producer James Hill ended in 1961, with Hayworth citing extreme cruelty. She once lamented, "Men go to bed with Gilda and wake up with me. Could any star embody glamour yet feel so utterly unloved?" Now arriving at number 6, Vivian Leigh.
It can't be true. Ashley loves me.
Call it!
Vivian Leigh dazzled the world as Scarlett O'Hara in Gone with the Wind, but her personal life unraveled behind closed doors. She married Laurence Olivier in 1940, forming Britain's golden couple. Yet beneath their brilliance lay turbulence. Leigh battled bipolar disorder and tuberculosis, while Olivier sought comfort in affairs. By the 1950s, Leigh's manic episodes became unmanageable. She was even institutionalized during breakdowns. Could any marriage survive such relentless pressure? They divorced in 1960, ending nearly 2 decades of passion and destruction. Still, Olivier wept at her funeral in 1967, leaving a note that read, "Darling, always." Isn't it heartbreaking that their love story, so admired in public, ended as one of Hollywood's most tragic collapses? Let's move on to number 5, Joan Crawford. Joan Crawford's marriages were as fierce as her on-screen persona. Her first union to Douglas Fairbanks Jr. in 1929 dissolved after 4 stormy years. Her second, with Franchot Tone in 1935, spiraled into physical fights and jealousy before ending in 1939. By 1942, she wed Philip Terry, but they divorced within 4 years. Her final marriage to Pepsi executive Alfred Steele in 1955 gave brief stability until his sudden death in 1959. How did Crawford endure 4 devastating endings? She approached marriage like casting, strategic, never tender. Later, her adopted daughter's memoir, Mommy Dearest, portrayed her as abusive, tarnishing her legacy forever. Isn't it striking that a woman who demanded control on screen could never find balance in love? Let's head into number 4, Zsa Zsa Gabbor.
Tell me, where did you learn the markets of sort of?
Few stars turned matrimony into spectacle like Zsa Zsa Gabbor. Between 1937 and 1986, she married 9 times. Her first husband was Turkish diplomat Burhan Asafbelge, but she soon traded politics for Hollywood. In 1949, she wed actor George Sanders. Their volatile fights became tabloid gold. Later husbands included oil magnates, lawyers, and industrialists. Did she marry for love or for survival? Her most outrageous quote came after a divorce. "I am a marvelous housekeeper. Every time I leave a man, I keep his house." By her 9th marriage to Prince Frederick von Anhalt in 1986, Gabbor had become more famous for her divorces than her films. Isn't it remarkable that her legacy is measured in weddings instead of roles? Now stepping into number 3, Judy Garland. Judy Garland's marriages mirrored her lifelong struggle with addiction and instability. At just 19, she married bandleader David Rose in 1941, but the marriage ended in 1944. In 1945, she wed director Vincente Minnelli, giving birth to Liza Minnelli before divorcing in 1951 amid his affairs. Her third husband, Sid Luft, became her manager, but allegedly abused her. Their marriage collapsed in 1965. She briefly married actor Mark Herron in 1965, annulled after months before her final wedding to Mickey Deans in 1969. Weeks later, she died at only 47 from an overdose. How could the girl who sang of rainbows find only storms? Even at her last wedding, she joked bitterly, "This one's for keeps." That cruel irony defined her life. Let's continue with number 2, Elizabeth Taylor.
Honestly, Jordan, you make me sound just awful.
Elizabeth Taylor reigned as Hollywood's violet-eyed queen, yet she walked down the aisle 8 times to 7 men. At 18, she wed hotel heir Conrad Hilton Jr. in 1950, a marriage marred by abuse that ended within a year. She then married actor Michael Wilding in 1952, divorcing in 1957. Producer Mike Todd became her 3rd husband in 1957, but his death in a plane crash just a year later devastated her. Seeking comfort, she married singer Eddie Fisher in 1959, igniting public scandal. Her fiery love affair with Richard Burton saw 2 marriages in 1964 and 1975, both volcanic and destructive. Later unions with John Warner and Larry Fortensky fizzled. Was she addicted to love itself? Taylor once admitted, "I'm a very committed wife. And I should be. I've been married 8 times. Finally, number 1. Marilyn Monroe. She was worshipped as the ultimate symbol of desire, yet Marilyn Monroe's own desires brought only heartbreak. At 16, she married James Dougherty, a wartime husband she left once Hollywood claimed her. In 1954, she stunned the world by marrying baseball hero Joe DiMaggio. But his fierce jealousy over her iconic subway dress scene led to explosive fights. Within 9 months, she divorced him for mental cruelty. Seeking comfort, she wed playwright Arthur Miller in 1956, hoping intellect would bring stability. Instead, she found betrayal in his private diary, calling her a disappointment. Their divorce in 1961 left her broken. A year later, Monroe was dead at just 36. Adored by millions, she remained unloved in her own home. Isn't that the greatest tragedy? The Golden Age left scars deeper than anyone imagined. The next chapter is waiting. Click on screen and step inside Hollywood's most dangerous secrets that demand to be remembered today.